What is happening in the Nashville real estate market as of January 2024? If you're wanting to know what has been taking place and what you can expect, especially if you're looking at making a move, then you're going to want to stay tuned because that's what I'm talking about in today's video. Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin Martin and I'm a local Nashville real estate agent and founder of the Caitlin Martin team. We specialize in working with out-of-staters looking to relocate to the Middle Tennessee area. And if this is your first time stopping by my channel, thank you so much. Please feel free to click subscribe down below so that you are the first to know every time I release new video content all about making a move to the Middle Tennessee area. So in today's video, we're talking about what is currently happening in the Nashville real estate market. We're going to be taking a look at a couple of stats, letting you know what's happening, what the predictions are for this year, just so that you, if you're thinking about making a move, can be staying up to date on what is currently happening here. Because as a reminder, real estate is always going to be hyper local. So what may be happening in your city is not necessarily what's happening here in the Middle Tennessee area. And it can even vary from one portion of Middle Tennessee to the other. So it's always great to know just currently what's happening here, especially if you're considering making a move. So let's go ahead and start talking about what we're seeing as of January 2024. So when we're talking about what's currently happening in the market, all the numbers we're looking at are always going to be about the month before, because we have to wait for the month to close out for all of the numbers to process so that we know exactly what was taking place and what we needed to know about what's happening. Because yes, we are out and about working in this market daily, and so we can see what's happening in terms of client offers, whether there's multiple offers happening. We can just see and feel the activity that's happening every day as we're in it. However, our numbers are also a great indicator to speak to what statistically is happening in terms of what we're seeing. So it's not just based off of our own individual activity of what we're seeing, that we're taking a look at what's happening on the greater Nashville scale. So as we take a look, as of January 2024, the home sales in January of this year were actually up 5% over January of last year. So we have started 2024 off strong, which is a nice indicator of what could potentially be coming later this year. Now, none of us have a crystal ball. We cannot tell you exactly what is going to happen, but we can use what we've seen happen before. We can use statistics to make our best predictions, as well as taking in what experts across the board are saying and letting you know what it is that we're seeing to give you our best advice in terms of what is happening. We did have a bit of a strong December, so we had a nice lead in into January, which is something that we have seen before. And when we saw that before, that was actually happening back in 2021 leading into 2022. We saw that same similar type of momentum. And so what we're gearing up right now is for the spring market that typically hits towards the end of February, beginning of March, and that'll last through May towards June. So we are getting ready to gear up. Typically spring is when we're going to see more inventory come to the market. Now, when we talk about inventory, we actually saw a 2% increase in inventory from December to January of this year. So when we're taking a look at inventory, it's great to see it tick up because we still are only sitting at about a 3-month supply of inventory. So that means that if no other new homes came to the market within 3 months, everything that's on the market would be sold and there'd be nothing else new. Now, if you're wondering about that timeline, so anything, when you're talking about whether it's a seller's market or buyer's market, anytime that you are looking at anything at 5 months or less, you're sitting in traditionally a seller's market. Anything between 5 and 6 months is going to be considered a neutral market. And then anything 6 months and longer is going to be considered a buyer's market. And so what we're looking at right here in the Middle Tennessee area is we are still sitting in a seller's market, even though it is not the White House seller's market that we had seen back in 2021 and 2022. I know that there's a lot of commentary that's happened about the Middle Tennessee area, and certain questions that I continue to get are, when are prices going to go down? You know, oh, this isn't sustainable, the bubble has to burst. And there's a lot to unpack when it comes to those comments. But what we are seeing is, if you're waiting for home prices to go down, you're going to be waiting probably a really long time. Because when we take a look at our numbers, our statistics were showing us when it comes to home sale prices that January of this year compared to January of last year, home prices still rose. And we'll actually take a look at a graph when we're taking a look at what to know, because it's easy for me to say things, but it's another thing when you can actually see it for yourself. So we're going to take a look at a couple of graphs just to take a look at where things have been trending. Because again, when you're armed with this kind of knowledge, you can make the best, most informed decisions for you and your family when it comes to making a move here. So overall, what we are seeing, we've seen a strong January. Home prices have still continued to appreciate. We had a December that launched us into a stronger January. And right now we are sitting and kind of keeping a close eye on what's happening with interest rates, because there have been the predictions that we expect to see 3 interest rates decrease. Now, because home prices continue to appreciate and because we saw the number of homes sold increase in January compared to January of last year, what that's telling us is there's more buyer confidence, whereas so many buyers have been sitting on the sidelines because of higher interest rates, that now, because we've seen a bit of a decrease, especially from where we were last fall, that's giving buyers more confidence to get in the market and take advantage of it. Now, I was actually having a conversation just last week where I was talking with somebody and they were, saying like, hey, I want to go ahead and get in and purchase now because if those interest rates do take those decreases, that's only going to bring more buyers to the market. And with our low inventory, we're then dealing with basic laws of supply and demand. When you have low inventory and high demand, that's going to drive prices up higher. And when I was having that conversation, they were saying, we want to try to capitalize on what's happening now where the interest rates have ticked down just a smidge, take advantage of that, because if those interest rates do indeed decrease and more buyers come to the market, then what they could buy now, they're going to have less competition now, and they can most likely get a better price on it now versus if they continue to wait and then they're having to deal with competition. Because we actually, as of January, we started to see some multiple opportunities come back to the table. There is more activity happening, which could be an indication that our spring market may be arriving a little bit earlier. So in the Nashville market, we very much are still seeing a lot of activity happening, even though it is still winter time and we're traditionally a little bit slower. So we have been seeing that, and that conversation that I was having last week, that is something great to keep in mind, that if you have the option to purchase sooner rather than later, there can be opportunity for you to negotiate better deals, just because less competition has yet to enter the market. But we do believe that as interest rates decrease, if that indeed happens as predicted, more buyers are going to flood our local market, which means, even though there's still great opportunity for sellers to come in and capitalize, we still are not going to have the inventory that's going to match where the demand that we're seeing. So again, that's going to push prices higher. So there is this window of time, I believe, to capitalize on that before the big rush happens, because as they tick down, we will see more demand flood into our market. Okay, so now let's take a look at a couple of the charts regarding Franklin, Brentwood, and Nolensville. Let's take a look at what's been happening there so that you can have a good idea, because especially if those questions of like when are prices going to come down, if they're still lingering, or you're, wondering about what's happening in the market, the graphs are a really great visual. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Okay, so as you can see, we've got some charts in front of us. Now, if you've seen any of my other videos, this is going to look a little bit different. However, our RealTrack system has updated the way that they track and report our various statistics. So on this map, we're actually able to take a look at Brentwood, Franklin, and Nolensville all together. Brentwood is going to be the blue, red is Franklin, green is Nolensville. And so here we're taking a look at the average sale price of closed homes. This is going to be a trend, as you can see from this timeline, of over the last year. So this, when you're looking at it, it's kind of hard to give you the larger picture. So I do like to back this out to 5 years so that we can take a look at where the market has trended overall, because when you sometimes get really zeroed in on one particular area, you really need to zoom out to get a better snapshot of what is happening overall. So if we take a look here, you can see overall the market in Brentwood, Franklin, and Nolensville, it has this overall upward trajectory in terms of average home sale price. So that is something that, if you are somebody that's sitting waiting for prices to come down, yes, you can see like from month to month, there can be some fluctuations, but overall the market, we're not seeing this start to trend down. We're seeing this move in an upward trajectory, and that is where it's expected to continue to go at least through 2028. So if you're hoping for that, it's going to be a while. So as you can see, where prices were back in the average home sale price for single family homes in January of 2019, Brentwood, you're looking at $669,000. Franklin, you're looking at $592,000. Nolensville, you're looking at $519,000. And now as we move up, as of January 2024, the average home sale price in Brentwood was sitting right at $1.7 million, Franklin right at $1.3, and Nolensville at $964,000. So overall, home prices have continued to appreciate. So people that bought back in January 2019, they are sitting on great equity now. Something else that I do want us to take a look at, because again, people are saying, okay, but we've seen prices decrease. We've seen price cuts on the market. So let's actually take a look at that. So as we take a look, this is going to be what the average sale price was in relation to what the list price was. Again, single family, Brentwood, Franklin, Nolensville. And so if you take a look here at this vertical side of the chart, you can see, this is talking about 96% of lists, 98, 100, 102, 104, 106. So as you can see right here between January of 21, really, and, June, July of 2022, that is encompassing the peak of our market. And so you can see kind of where we are in relation to, that portion of when our market was white hot. So as you can see, as of January 2024, in Brentwood, homes are still selling at 97% of list price. In Franklin, they're at 98%. And Nolensville is really sitting at still about 100% of list price. So when people are seeing these price decreases, yes, you can see that, but it's the home prices and what it's selling for compared to what it's listed at, it's still sitting well, very close within 100%. Now, if we want to back it out to the average sale compared to the original list, so that means that if it was listed and then, it took a price drop, then what it sold in comparison to the price drop, this is talking about what the original price was. I mean, we are still looking at, if you come all the way, you can still see it's pretty flatlined. You're still in Nolensville, it's saying, you can still see here just overall, it hasn't changed that much. Brentwood, you're still looking at 95%, Franklin 97, Nolensville is actually at 101. So again, we're not taking those big old price decreases. So when you hear the media headlines about the market crashing, that is not what our statistics are telling us by any means. And then I figured before we wrap up the statistic portion, we'll actually take a look at what the price per square foot is, because I know that's actually really interesting to some people just to know what they should expect. So again, this is going to be the average single family Brentwood, Franklin, Nolensville. And so with that, you can see that in Brentwood, as of January 2024, the average price per square foot was $361. That was an increase of 5.6% from the same time last year. Franklin, you're sitting at $349 a square foot. That's actually slightly down 2.2% from the same time last year. And then in Nolensville, it's a slight decrease of $281 a square foot, decrease of 9.9%. The thing to know, and this is all averages, depending on what price point you're in, you can actually see that price per square foot increase, especially if you're in the luxury, the higher luxury market. Those price points are generally going to be, you're going to see them increase, but this is an overall, this is an average to take a look at. So we've taken a look, this is where our market's trending. As you can see, yes, we have some fluctuations month to month, but overall, these things continue to move in an upward trajectory. So that is something to keep in mind if you are thinking about making a move to the Middle Tennessee area. Okay, so I hope that was helpful taking a look at all of those numbers. Overall, we have had a strong January. Moving into 2024, we are expected to still see a couple of rate decreases, which could increase the amount of people coming into the Middle Tennessee market. So we do have great predictions. We expect to still be a very healthy market as we move through the rest of this year. And then on top of everything, another thing to know about Nashville, it actually landed at number 6 on top performing cities 2024 index. And what that is, that's going to be the Millikan Institute. They rank cities based on 12 indicators that include economic growth, access to opportunities. Those include employment and wages, technology, housing affordability, broadband access, and GDP growth. And this year they actually include community resilience, so how a city recovers from a natural disaster, and then income inequality. So Nashville, like I said, it landed at number 6 when they took all of those factors, brought them together. And so Nashville is still a top performing city across the US, and that is part of the reason why people continue to make a move here. And as we've seen, our market is indicating that we are still moving in a great trajectory. We have started to see multiple offers come back to the table. If you are thinking about making a move, if you're looking at this spring or summer, there is still time to capitalize, and it is a great time to reach out to go ahead and put a plan in place of how to make sure that you are best positioned in this market to win. And if you're ready to start talking about making a move to the Middle Tennessee area, there's actually a link down below that you can go ahead and click and book a Zoom call with me. If you don't see a time that works for you, please don't hesitate to email me, and we will work on finding a time that works so that we can go ahead and get that conversation started. If you're not quite ready for that just yet, that's okay too. I actually have a free Nashville relocation guide down below that you click and download. Again, my name is Caitlin Martin. I'll see you next time.